Ansich Kirsch article suggests several ways of handling the power that a leadership role gives you. They want you to be consistent and at the same time to be aware, maybe through a network audit, of how people interact with other people in different roles. One of the points they have is to give people freedom to act as they think is fit. That is not to micromanage, but have people make decisions on their own. And if they're wrong a little, that's learning. The point of this brief article is to get you thinking on situations where you'd want to empower a subordinate, and to have you discuss the applicability of some of these ideas to situations that you are familiar with or think about. And again, it's not something very directive where there's one right answer, but it's meant for you to think of a context, let's say the Bronx Zoo or a oil company in Texas, but think of some context and look up some articles on it, get some knowledge, or contact people over LinkedIn in a particular job or function. Maybe you have relatives who are working interesting positions who you can leverage for information on how their leaders act with them and how they, as leaders of teams and groups and so on, do their job by empowering people, etc. Anthony and Schwartz's article is an exciting one. They talk about positioning and repositioning a company, particularly introducing digital, computerized ways of doing things that formerly were done with people using direct communication, conversation, and thinking. They talk about looking at things from the perspective of an insider in the companies, or the point of view of what's happening in the company from the point of view of outsiders like suppliers, customers, regulatory agencies, news media. One of the more interesting ideas is creating a map to take you to the future, ideas on what steps need to be taken to move the company to where it needs to be in 2025 and beyond. The Beersen, Mearkim, and Strovnik article is a particularly interesting one that I encourage you to choose as one of the ones you focus on for your reports. This article talks about what makes a leader exceptional. It goes over quite a few specific programs. What I'd like you to do is to look at which of these kind of programs really seems meaningful and important to you and explain why. The Coleman article discusses the trade-off between being agile versus being consistent. If you choose this article for your report, you should try to look at it in terms of examples of businesses you're familiar with, ones you are a customer of or had an internship, or maybe discuss it with alumni on LinkedIn to get ideas. Garden discusses how to be a motivational leader. This involves motivating people. He actually gives 33 traits of inspirational leaders and emphasizes a few of them. You can click on the hyperlink in the article to see these 33 traits. He discusses being spiky and seizing particular moments that can be leveraged to inspire people. The Pfeffer reading covers a lot of ideas based on current books in management. One of the ideas for leaders is to be practical, to be a pragmatist, and try to do what can be accomplished. Other topics discussed by Pfeffer include building a power base and embracing ambiguity as a strategic factor. Lane, Lermont, and Yu talk about finding hidden leaders. They talk about hunting, fishing, and trawling for hidden leaders. Lensinski discusses Mark Zuckerberg's leadership approach. Lewis discusses great leadership approaches, such as being vulnerable. Other points he considers are patience and resilience. Mayo discusses being energetic, unconventional, and heroic. The road chapter is a very important and useful one. It focuses on being a woman in an organization, being strategic as a leader. He talks about gender stereotypes and how such actions as self-promotion are handled differently when it involves a woman than a man. The chapter concludes with a very useful discussion of family work-life balancing. Taylor discusses the importance of trying to make people feel that dissenting is the acceptable and right thing to do to support their leader. He gives interesting examples, such as one from Volkswagen. The idea of getting people with the guts to dissent is something I can discuss if you choose this article. Worth talks about wholehearted leadership with a focus on the strength of vulnerability.